everybody, welcome back once again to Bish's RV. My name's Josh the RV Nerd, and with us today, not necessarily a new floor plan, but one that I haven't had the opportunity to record until today. And it's a pretty straightforward family camping layout. It's the features that are wrapped around it that kind of make this one a little bit special. Like, it's a double over double bunkhouse with a super slide and a private front bedroom, and that's all great, but this one also brings a direct entry bathroom, which is something I've always thought was really slick, but kind of fizzled out of the RV industry a little bit, and it seems like it's maybe making its way back. But again, it's the interesting complement of features that go into these, like the fact that it has a fiberglass roof cover. Not a TPO or PVC, but actual fiberglass up there, which is basically it's something typically reserved mostly for motorized RV production. The belly's enclosed, it's forced air heated, they have a radiant barrier to maximize efficiency and holding tank heaters. And in addition to Goodyear endurance radials, they also have a wide stance stability axle system to make the thing bounce and jounce a little bit less behind you, which is awful nice. Now, this brand is very good about making sure that they're very pet-friendly, kid-friendly, easy cleaning. No floor vents, no heat vents in the floor, no traditional carpeting in the floor, slides or anything like that. And this year they finally adopted a 60 by 80 true queen bed so that the people who are taller than the average bear like me can actually sleep on that front bed without my toes hanging off the bed and get nipped on by the guy that lives under the covers. You know who I mean, right? It's also on an interesting tilt system so that if you do want to kind of use it like a daytime book nook reading lounge or something like that, you can do that too. But the RV's got a couple weird things you may not like. I'm going to share good with bad with ugly with everything in between, and if you appreciate that look, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and let's get started, because there's actually quite a bit more to cover on this one than you might think. So like I said, like any RV, this RV has a lot of great points, but it's also got a couple of things that make you go, that might be deal breakers for you. And I've always kind of been the type that, like, if it's going to be a problem, let's just find out now. I'm a person who just prefers to rip off Band-Aids. I'm not going to sit there and prolong the pain, you know. Here's the entertainment center. It is not the worst. It is not the best I've ever seen in a Super Slide Bunkhouse travel trailer. It's on a bit of an angle here. If you're sitting at the sofa, you know, the sofa faces toward that door. It is a little bit of a neck turner, a little bit of a Kathleen head turner, as it were. I don't even know how many people get my stupid references anymore. But anyway, I always remember that movie, V.I. Warshawski. I always thought that was a cool movie that Kathleen Turner was in. Anyway, the RV also lacks in campsite window coverage. If those are things that you're looking for, that you absolutely need in an RV, this may not be the right camper for you, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that this is a bad camper. It just means that it's not the right one for you. So we've eliminated that. And if that means that that's a deal breaker and you're going to tune out, here's what I would ask you to do. At least click the like button on the video and just say, hey, you know, thanks for not wasting my time. That's why I put all the floor plans and the weights and measures and everything right up front in my videos. I want you to know if we're even on track right from the word go. I don't want you to wait 12 minutes of listening to my nasally annoying voice before you find out, nope, there's 15 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back, because 12 minutes with me feels like 15. You can even ask my wife. She will verify that. So if you're still with us, got a Super Slide over here on the right. You've got marine woven slide flooring and no floor vents or carpeting on the main floor decking. That does tend to be a decent recipe for easier cleaning and pet friendliness. The RV is 6.5 foot from floor to ceiling, which is a pretty industry standard height measurement right there. What is also nice is this does have a 15,000 BTU air conditioner standard up here. I like that skylight in the kitchen, letting in some extra lighting in there too. That is one thing, if I'm going to be a little critical, Heritage Glen doesn't seem to use the most intense lighting fixtures. There are times in the RV where it just feels like I catch myself going, is my battery low? The lights feel dim. But they just don't use stuff with the most, the highest rating of lumens, basically. So it's not the brightest bulb in the pack. No pun intended, because there was no pun there. U-dinette over here, with the, you know I love that knee-knocking post dinette, he says with great sarcasm. But if you notice, that dinette post, it is mounted right on the edge of the actual slide floor. You see how it dips down right there? How the box of the dinette actually floats over the air a little bit like David Blaine? That's kind of what we're talking about right there. The windows, they've adopted a very Brinkley style window with an integrated blackout shade that we'll get to see in a few minutes here. But what is nice is any section of that window that opens for airflow does have a dedicated bug screen. And that's where those windows are really great. They look kind of cool, and man, they provide serious airflow over there. Hold on, where's my kitchen power outlets? There better be a couple under that. Okay, there's a couple under that overhead cabinet right there. I'm like, man, if there's none in that kitchen, that's gonna be a problem. This, by the way, above that control panel does have a tankless on-demand water heater controller. So if you got a couple kids, you and the spouse want to take some back-to-back hot showers, you can do that. It's also a 12-volt DC compressor fridge over there right above the converter panel, which is nicely located so that when the slide's closed, you'll still be able to access everything. I have not seen a sticker giving us a real idea of the bunk ratings over here on these double-over-double bunks. I'm going to have to estimate as a result they're probably around 300-pound rated each. But again, with no actual hard stickers to go by, it's kind of shocking me. That seems to be a thing that I used to find all the time for manufacturers. I'm having a harder and harder time locating lately. I like how both bunks have their own breeze window. You do have USB plugs for both bunks. It's interesting they only put household outlets in the lower bed. I'm not exactly sure why they do for one and not the other, but hey. And I think it was the Keystone Passport 2810BH, way back when. Those numbers probably mean nothing to you. They were the first ones I really saw do what I call the open air ladder wall right here. And what I like about it is that it makes the RV look and feel larger, because the ladder is actually the upper bunk structure itself. Although those wooden ladder dowel rungs, not exactly barefoot friendly. Again, if we're just being real about this right here. Now, porcelain foot flush stool right here that is nicely fluffy friendly. There is a lot of good space around that. And last year, if you'd have looked, I think it was last year, if you'd have looked above this, a lot of RV manufacturers were doing open face storage, and I'm really going to give them some credit that they did provide enclosure to about 2/3 of it. I don't mind that the lower pocket's open because I think that could be a handy space for some extra butt napkin rolls, basically. And in case you're a little freaked out, if you've never shopped for an RV before, if you've never seen a direct entry bathroom door, I think a really important thing to remember is this is an entry door just like your main door. You have a deadbolt switch right here, so you can have privacy if you want it, or you can have max airflow with the door open if you don't want privacy. I don't think anybody would welcome that at the campground. That is, by the way, a really good way I've found to get rid of the neighbors off the campsite of the RV to really give you maximum patio space. Now, you do obviously, if you're a little bit taller like me, a little bit over 6 foot, have to put your head up in the skylight. And allow me to kind of turn you around spin you around like a record baby right here. You do have a medicine cabinet. Now, both sides of the door have the, I'm going to call it the Rhino Beetle towel hook right here, which also kind of looks like the Cobra Commander towel hook a little bit if you look at it right there. A little bit of a peekaboo, I smell you door up top. And the bathroom, because of the fact that it has cabinet ducted heating, doesn't actually have like a full space for a wastebasket. So that might be something that you'll need to kind of contend with and work around here. Now, working our way back up front, pardon me, just coming off a little bit of a case of the crud. We have thermal foil countertops right here where it is like a Formica top, but it doesn't have a T-molded seamed edge. I don't love open face storage, but I do commend them for at least opening it up. It drives me crazy when manufacturers will enclose and totally waste any sort of potential storage spaces like that. It's not my favorite thing. Now, you probably already noticed, but down below the entertainment center, that is an electric space heating Tootsie Toastin' fireplace right over there. That is also a trifold sleeper sofa. We'll get you that open in just a second. Let's actually start, cracking open all the storage here. One thing I do like on this, by going with those square flow windows, they are able to get rid of all the boxy valances and lambrequins and just maximize the total effect of those windows. It's something I enjoy anyway. Now, looking down here at the dinette, obviously that can fold into a sleeper. The back section of the dinette does have storage as well, but you are going to have to take apart the cushions and everything to get there. Now, this thing actually has 2 pantries, so the pantry over here by the bathroom you may consider using as some of the maybe dresser storage space or something like that for the bunk area. I guess it maybe just depends on what you're doing and how you're going to pack. I also really like the fact that there's a good dedicated space over here in the kitchen under the sink for a wastebasket. So many manufacturers don't include stuff like that. And it just, that's a mistake, I think. I think that's something you're going to use every single day is a wastebasket in the kitchen area. Right by the door, that could be a closet. It could kind of be a pantry. It sort of depends on what you want to do with it. I'm kind of curious to know what people are going to do with that space. And there's even more storage behind it off the bedroom side of things. And again, you've got the hide-to-bed sleeper sofa over here. Now, when that hide-to-bed is open, you can still slide between the sofa and the kitchen peninsula. So, like, if you do have a guest or a kid sleeping on the hide-to-bed, you don't have to necessarily, climb over them to get to the bathroom from the bedroom in the morning or something like that. Now, that's another thing that's kind of cool about this one. With the hide-to-bed sleeper sofa, U-dinette, and double over double bunks plus true queen bed up front, we have easy sleeping for 4, meaning 2 in the bedroom, 1 on each bunk. You have fairly easy sleeping for 6 with +1 more on the dinette and +1 on the hide-a-bed. And that's before you ever start to try to double people up. I will say it drives me crazy how RV manufacturers, they would probably call this floor plan like a 10 sleeper, considering the dinette, the hide-a-bed, and each bunk also a 2-person sleeper. But man, they're going to have to be little kids to do that. Now, a couple interesting things here up in the bedroom. This is now a true queen bed. Heritage Glen, Hemisphere previously were only short queen, so they have adopted a true queen bed. But you might notice it obviously has that headboard tilt section right there. Right over here is the switch for that, which seems very weird to a lot of people. It's important to understand this is not a sleep number. It is not something that's designed to be like where when you lay on it, you can lift your head up or down or something like that. You need to adjust it when you're off the bed. So they make sure they put the switch where you can't easily overtly reach it. That's not an accident on these. By the way, before I forget, because it's in a weird spot, your TV hookups in the bedroom are in this upper left corner. Not a great spot for it, but because the wall across from the bed is a set of a set of doors, well, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. Actually, let's go ahead and peek around the corner and take a look at that. Here, let me actually climb up here. We got the bed in lounge mode. Let me actually just sort of put you in lounge position. So if you're sitting right here, maybe it's a rainy day, maybe it's a hot day, and you give everybody a little bit of siesta time or something like that. You could be here reading a book, playing on your phone, whatever, kind of still keeping an eye on the kids, but still having a little bit of a private space in here with some nice breeze across window coverage. One of the other cool things in this bedroom, though, is they actually have given it some surprisingly good storage. Starting up here, you've got a full big bonus closet dedicated just to this bedroom, which I think is very, very cool. And then you'll notice you do have easy lift storage below the bed. I want to tell you, though, to access that, you absolutely have to have the VersaTilt bed in the down position. Otherwise, you do run the risk of maybe torquing something in a way it wasn't intended for, and eventually maybe causing something to break or fail or stress in a way that you don't want it to. Now, each side of the bed has these little headboard power pockets. They get kind of hidden when the bed is in VersaTilt mode, but if you look really closely, now that you know they're there, there is still a little bit of a like a little peek through. So if you did have a phone charger cable fed through those things, you could probably still sit there on the bed in lounge mode all day and still mess around on your phone. Again, I think a lot of people go camping not to sit in bed and watch their phone all day, but sometimes weird things happen. You know, I'm just spitballing ideas. I'm not saying that's how you should have to camp necessarily. Beyond that, I think we've pretty much covered things here. We do need to take a second, though. I'm going to get this super slide closed for you and take a look at her in using the viewing angle of RV number 37, the road mode, brother. And the traveling access on this one is not quite as good as I would hope it to be, but it's also not terrible. So with the dual entry doors, the bathroom is unquestionably travel accessible. And from there, we can most certainly just right around the corner make our way to the bunks. And what's interesting here is that bathroom door actually provides us our greatest level of travel access and function. The refrigerator is over here, you know, your kitchen drawers, all that kind of stuff. The front door, you're basically going to use that in travel just to open the slide out, because unless you do that, I don't think you're going to make it up into this bedroom. Like, it looks like, ooh, maybe we're going to squeeze through there, but then you look down toward the sound bar and you're like, absolutely not. My butt would rip that sucker, smash it right off the wall. And that's not awesome. But I hope you appreciate that we took the time to close the slides up here, show you this thing in road mode, so you know what you're getting before you spend the money. And when we take another look here at the weights and measures, it's kind of tricky. Sometimes RV manufacturers, if they do the thing the right way, it also presents a problem. Here's what I mean. So this RV weighs a little bit under 7,000 pounds empty. A lot of people, that starts to sound half-ton towable to them, and there are some half-tons that could do that. But this thing has like over 2,600 pounds, I think, of cargo carry capacity. It actually has a really good cargo rating in an industry that, if you look around, there are so many RVs that ride on absolute minimum axles and chassis and all that stuff. So it's nice to see that they're doing a little bit of bulking up in that way. But it also means that you technically then have a heavier GVW that you need to kind of be on the hook for towing. So whether it's half-ton towable or not kind of depends on personal experience. It really greatly depends on the specific capacities of that vehicle, as well as where you're going to tow and go with it. So it may not necessarily be a bad idea to consider a 3/4 with something like this. You'd definitely be more comfortable. But I do know some people that may half-ton this. There's going to be a lot of people go, absolutely not, it's irresponsible to suggest that. Make up your own mind, do your own research. I've seen things on both sides of the equation there. This is a cable slide system. Some folks have been asking for that more recently, so I'm doing my best to kind of fill in the blanks for you on that one. And down below here, there's a lot that you won't see, because the underbelly, it is enclosed. That's a loud truck. It is enclosed, it's forced air heated, there's a radiant barrier down there, and it does have holding tank heaters, all factory standard on these. They also do slam latches and magnet holdbacks on these big front pass-through compartments right here. And you might notice how they're giving us big access doors on both sides. Now, the one that we're looking at does have their optional 200-watt solar package up on the roof. That's why you see the charge controller there. The battery disconnect is also easy to reach. I do kind of wish it was mounted up a little bit higher to help keep it shielded away from shifting cargo. Now, some folks have been asking, what is that piston-looking thing under the bed? That's the actuator arm for that VersaTilt bed system. So, kind of keep that in mind. Then over on the right-hand side of the screen here, which is now the left side of the screen here, that's the griddle. So the RV includes a griddle, and what I think is kind of neat here, I think previously, this brand especially, would do a lot of these things where it had like a little mini fridge and then a griddle under it. But the problem was, if you were using the griddle, you couldn't open the fridge, or you'd almost burn your arms if you tried. So they went with a bigger outside fridge, which is, I think, really handy. I think that's actually really smart content, really, really useful. With there's a griddle mount beside it. We'll get over there and get you a better look in a second here. Your power awning's not the biggest I've ever seen, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's intelligently located and reasonably sized, I think. You've got the drunken uncle leash latch over here. They put this intentionally right by the awning arm so that if you want to keep the dog or something like that in the shade, or, out in the, enjoying some sunshiny weather, you can kind of do either way there. Now, I mentioned this. Instead of a miniature fridge and then a griddle below it, they just left the griddle out, and they gave you that mounting bracket with a gas grill quick connect down below. That's where the griddle would actually be mounted. So instead, what we're getting here is a larger total cold storage capacity. Now, this is not inverted. This doesn't operate in transit. So your 12-volt fridge inside will remain your transit fridge. Keep that in mind. Down below here, of course, you got the gas grill cooker hooker. Like I mentioned, you can see the little plug for it sticking down. And the wide stance stability axles with Goodyear Endurance radials. Good speed rating on those, 87 miles an hour. Not just anybody should ever be towing that fast. And the wide stance function, basically, the best way I can describe that is it takes a lot of the extra bounce, jounce, and wiggle out of the RV. Now, as long as we're looking down here, something you may not have noticed overtly, unless you were really looking for it, is this is not riding on the industry standard conventional Lippert chassis. This is actually on a Norco chassis, which is a huck-bolted system. And the idea behind it is that it is allegedly lighter but stronger. It's certainly vastly less common. I suspect it's actually a more expensive chassis if I had to estimate. But my experience has been manufacturers who ride on that chassis, we certainly seem to see fewer general structural issues with them. That's just kind of been my overall impression. Now, again, the bathroom door doesn't have a viewing window like the main entry door does, but I think that's actually kind of smart because it's a bathroom. And there are so many manufacturers who are putting windows in bathroom doors on floor plans like this, but then they give you absolutely no privacy shade or anything like that from the factory. And yeah, for what, 40, 50 bucks, you could probably add one of those after the fact. But I don't know that I should have to pay extra for bathroom privacy. Obviously, the folks at Wildwood seem to agree. Now, again, if we look up top, you see how we are prepped and ready for a telescopic removable ladder up there. And you can kind of see wrapping over the edge line how it does have that fiberglass roof cap. Now, I'm trying to figure out how to say this respectfully on the fly. There are many individuals in the RV industry, some of whom have vastly different levels of experience, training, and or store culture. Sometimes there's people who are very interested in doing good business the right way, but they're trained by someone who is potentially unscrupulous, and that good person doesn't necessarily realize it. What I'm phrasing up here is there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say things like, oh, it's a fiberglass roof, you never have to maintain it. And that is going to cause so many people major issues that insurance won't cover because you still have seals up there. Yeah, the roof skin, the roof cap itself doesn't really require maintenance and upkeep being fiberglass like it is. But you still have the same seals on this that you have on anything else. So this is a reduced maintenance total roof structure. People hear roof and they think the entire construction, but a lot of times when various agents of the RV industry say roof, they mean only the skin. So please keep all that in mind. I know I'm being very specific in my verbiage, but I think it's very important. And I like how they give you the bonus storage under the bunks there. And you have the receiver hitch on the back, but not an actual bumper. So it's cool that they also give you that sewer tube. And did you notice we are a single-headed sewer monster? All of the sewer outlets on this RV all basically cross-plumb and connect to one single, well, if I'm just going to say it ceremoniously, crap cap. And a quick little housekeeping note. Today we looked at one called a Wildwood Heritage Glen. There's also the Salem Hemisphere, or I call them Hairy Glens or Hemisphere Glens or whatever. It's all literally the same thing, two names for the exact same thing. And to help make shopping for that a little bit easier, I'm going to leave you one link to rule them all, Lord of the Rings style, in the video description to check for pricing and availability. And beyond that, remember, we have these located at quite a few of our different locations now. So they shouldn't be too hard to find. If we happen to be sold out, we can probably move one from one store to another for you, or we'll just get one with your name, coming from the factory to that nearby location. When you're ready, we're ready. But until then, I couldn't decide if I wanted to say till next time or till then, so it came out as any. I'm sure that's going to look really good when I replay that. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone. Remember to laugh at yourself from time to time.